Ethereum update on the daily chart to start us off. Then we'll look at some higher time frames. We're also going to look at ETH versus Bitcoin and look at that chart and see if there's a bottom in sight. So the whole narrative of ETH is dead, running rampant as it does every cycle. ETH is not dead. ETH is not going anywhere. ETH will still do quite well. Although we're going to look at some high targets for potential the end of this cycle, maybe a little bit lower than what you've seen or heard. So if you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. If you want more help navigating the cycle, more content like this, or daily extra help, ability to request, consider joining our Patreon Silver group there. And we're in there pretty much all day, every day. So check us out there if you're interested. All right. Ethereum daily chart. Gaussian channel just flipped red for the past couple of days. And we're flirting with the 200-day in the pink here. Typically not what you want to see when you want to be bullish. But these are also decent spots to be accumulating, right? If you're wanting to come back into ETH or flip your Bitcoin over to ETH, right? We'll look at that chart in a minute. But typically the 200-day in a bull run, we're still in a bull run. For those of you not knowing that Bitcoin, was just at all-time highs a few days ago, and amazing how quick sentiment can change, but that's neither here nor there. So the daily chart for Ethereum looks a little bit sketchy, right, you would say. But that's usually decent times to be starting to pick some coins up, right? You don't want to be buying when you're in these kind of rallies, which is what typically people do. Okay, not only that, but we're back down to bigger support levels. We have our kind of our macro March high top, right? Our Fibonacci here. And we've already revisited the 0.5. See this low wick. So if you want to come back in here, your risk reward ratio is pretty great because that should be your low. That low wick right there at 29.13. You put a stop loss just under that, because then even if Ethereum's not dead and will go higher, like it could face like some stuck in the mud scenarios if we do that, and it could just kind of lag behind the rest of the gang. All right, so having said that, let's move on. How about the 3-day? Some good things. Now we start seeing the 618 here holding up, right? I know it's a little busy, but it's important to also have this Gaussian channel on, and noting that on the more bullish, higher time frame 3-day chart, it is holding that upper Gaussian channel tentatively, and also that 50 EMA respecting that green line right there. Okay, all good signs. A wick down to the 100 and bounce quickly, even though it did put in a new low. Right, this higher time frame, right, range lows, flip to range highs, back to range lows months later, right, from July to January. Okay, following along, still bullish. Multiple visits up here at the highs, especially in, not that long ago, right? We were at highs, back down again in flag formation, I might add, right? This is bullish, right? Okay. Following, okay, looks good. Now, how about some higher time frames? We need to go a little bit higher, so you start getting a bigger picture here. What else do we see? Bullish potential inverse head and shoulders. Right, let's just paint this, right? Esque, right? Maybe we're doing something like this. And like, what would our target be? Like if we break this, and this does confirm, and we start to move back up again. I'm glad you asked. Let's take a look. How do you do that? Well, a rough estimate. You could take your low close, go straight up with the line to your highs. Like really this, let's not use this. Let's be a little bit more conservative, right? Let's go right there. And then you take this flagpole, or the measured move, let's go with that. Kind of put it loosely at the top of where you break out. But since remember, we took the measured move from there. So let's be conservative again and go like the lowest close right there, right? Something rough to this, yeah? So where would that give us? Oh, coincidentally, it's right near the 1618 Fibonacci extension, just above 6,000. 6,000 to potentially 6,500. Or if, we didn't want to be quite as conservative, maybe we knock on the door 7,000. Maybe that's lower target than you've thought of. Maybe you thought we were going way higher, maybe 12,000. Well, it could. But it's all going to depend on how ETH performs here in the next handful of months. If Bitcoin is going to 2x roughly, and I I put that in a rough, give or take 10-20% on either side. How is Ethereum going to 4x? I don't see it from here. Like in case in point, like this kind of pattern breaking out to around 6,000-7,000. Okay, you need some more evidence of maybe not hitting those 12K marks. Okay, well, how about this? 1618 up here, 14,000. That's from our macro. That's from our last bull cycle top to our bear market lows. Well, why couldn't we hit that? Well, we didn't do it last cycle. Why would we do it this cycle? The 1618 was 8,300. Where did we get to? Not even 5,000. How far down is that from that 1618? I'm glad you asked. Let's take a measured move. It's about, 40% or so, right? 40% lower than the 1618 fib. Okay. So what would be 40% lower than this 1618? About 8,000. Okay. So I would say Ethereum tops between 6,000 to 8,000 based on that, based on all the stuff we've been talking about. And also, my initial target over the past 6-8 months was 10 to 12K, but the lackluster performance based on the chart, we could still hit 12K. I'm not saying that that's impossible, but it's becoming increasingly less likely with every passing week that Ethereum is not on a upwards movement. Okay. So 6,000 to 8,000. My mouth's going a little dry here. There's our target for the end of the cycle. Also noting, like 2026 is right here. Unlikely we go that long. Maybe. Anything's possible. Never say never. But, I mean, look at the angle of attack here that we have to be going on. If we did in the next 6 months, look at that move. If we still have, the better part of a year left, that's still pretty insane. Nothing like this, right? We're not going to get any cycles like this again. Get this out of your head, right? 2021 cycle was one and done. But you could see the case where, like, we start to reach these targets, it starts to get a little obscene, right? We haven't done anything close to that, right? So just a reality check for you, for those of you calling for, seeing calls for 12, 14, 20K Ethereum. Unlikely, given the fact that our bear market lows back here did get to sub 1,000, but we've done not even a 400% move, right? So for this cycle, from where we are now, 32, that'll be another 2x to potentially 2.5x. You can see the 1618 up there at 8,300 from our first cycle. Maybe it just takes 2 cycles for Ethereum to get to the 1618. Okay. 6,000 to 8,000 for back-to-back 1618 extensions, perhaps. All right. For those of you still with me, let's go to Ethereum Bitcoin chart. Appreciate you watching this long. Let me know if you watched this long. Send me a comment. You never know what that could get you someday. Appreciate you watching. What else do we notice here? Ethereum Bitcoin on the Fibonacci retrace from our lows to highs here for ETH BTC. And we're looking at 5-year moves here. 5-year to the 618 golden retrace. I mean, if you're waiting to move your ETH to Bitcoin, this is the spot. Like, this is your warning. This is your wake-up call. This is exactly how a robot would do it. If you told a robot, buy ETH BTC, well, I'll probably do it at the Fibonacci golden retrace of the 618. That's how they would do it, right? Ignore the noise, ignore the FUD. This is where you pull the trigger. Now, stop loss, where do you put it? I would put it just under this low wick and then maybe try again. Your risk-reward ratio, this is how a professional trader does it. Enter where you should with a tight stop loss. If you're wrong quick. You got to do that if you want to be around in trading very long. If you're wrong, be wrong quickly. And it's right here. So if you're wanting to flip your Bitcoin to Ethereum, this is the level, folks. 618 over a 5-year span. This is patience in a nutshell. Doesn't mean the low's in, but you're risking nothing as long as you put that stop loss there, right? Maybe Ethereum never recovers. Maybe it just becomes a reading rainbow and we go back down to the devil himself down here. I don't know. But for a trading setup, this is about the good as you could possibly ask. Macro support zone, 618 retrace. What's not to like here? Again, stop loss about, I'd say whatever your risk tolerance is under that low wick. 29.96, maybe you go 5-10% under it. I don't know, 2-3% under it. I would go probably like right in there if you're specifically asking. 29.20, just something random like that. Just take a look at the Bollinger Bands here. They don't look great, but not terrible. Volume? Meh. Nothing typical there either. Okay, that's my 2 cents on that. I won't bore you to death. If you want more stuff like this came from a request from our Telegram group. Get in there, learn something, and change your ways this cycle. We'll help you out there. I assume if you're watching this far, you're already in there. If not, holy hell, try it out. You're going to thank your future self that will thank you, okay? I'll help you get out of this cycle. All right, I got to find my tab for quote and car of the day. Our work is the presentation of our capabilities. Or the Fibonacci's capabilities. We'll see. Car of the day. Let me remove my picture so we can glorify this car. Any guesses? If you said Mercedes, congrats. How about which one is it? Any guesses? The AMG GT in satin green. I mean, that's pretty rock star move there. With the carbon ceramic brakes. Love those brakes. And there's a front version on the track, ready to roll. All right. Until next time, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.